Hey everyone, what is up? Thanks for tuning in. It's Mike Mooney from the Steel Studio, and today we're going to check out some of the offensive tackles in the 2021 NFL Draft. I think it's obvious at this point that the Steelers are going to pick up a tackle in the draft, or some sort of offensive lineman, but I think everyone's thinking tackle. That may change with free agency here. There's been a lot of talk all over the place in terms of cap space and movement, and I think even if we end up re-signing somebody that we already had, or I don't know, we'll still maybe draft a tackle. I just think in terms of cap space, we're probably going to have to do that. With that being said, let's get into reviewing the different linemen coming up in the NFL Draft. I picked some of them, not all of them, but I picked some of the ones that I think obviously stood out to most people. Okay, and I want to preface some of the information that I give here. All of the information that I give here, none of it is of my opinion. I know in my running backs video, I think people thought that some of the times that I was giving for the 40-yard dash and some of the different stats were of my opinion. They are not of my opinion. Those are the opinions of experts, and I'm just relaying that information back to you in this video. So with that being said, I'm going to start with our first player here, a fantastic one. It's Penei Sewell. He is a tackle out of Oregon. Guy's 6'6", weighs 325 pounds, and his projected 40 time is 5 seconds flat, which not great, but that's not bad. And we'll see some of these other guys are going to be a little slower that they think. In fact, as I'm looking through here, he may be the fastest one that we talk about today. It looks like he is. Sewell did not rejoin Oregon for the shortened Pac-12 season this year. This past year, he got a jump on his 2021 NFL Draft preparation. Some team sources felt that Sewell is actually a better prospect than the four tackles who were the high first-rounders last NFL Draft, those being Andrew Thomas, Jedrick Willis, Mekhi Becton, and Tristan Wirfs. Hopefully I'm not messing up any names here. I don't know every player in the league, but some say, and I may be one of those people, I'm not sure yet, I got to see more clips, but some say that he is the best football player in the 2021 NFL Draft altogether. The best out of any position in the draft. And I'll say the guy's impressive. Sewell has the skill set to be a dependable edge protector for any quarterback in the league. He is a fantastic athlete with, obviously real quickness on the edge. He pops out of his stance quickly. He gets his hands into the chest of the defenders, and he's got super fast feet. And some people say that he plays the typewriter. If you understand that analogy, he cuts off the edge from speed rushers so well. We'll see what it's like in the NFL. Is a different game than college, but we'll see what he's like in the NFL. He shows a lot of strength, enough strength for sure. To make his presence known in the NFL. He has quality hand placement, and he sustains blocks while being able to neutralize second efforts even, which is fantastic. So he's agile, his footwork's pretty good, he's quick, and he's a smooth mover in space. On screens, kick-out blocks, zone runs, Sewell's pretty much constantly showing how natural he is in space. I think that everyone expects for this to be a top 16 pick. Maybe top 10, maybe top 5. I don't know what team is going to end up with him. Obviously, you've seen a million mock drafts at this point, but this is just a hell of a player. I'll say his downfall can be that he's not overpowering in run blocking. He doesn't bowl defenders off the ball, people say, but he does scrap well. He's got an attitude, which is fantastic coming to the NFL, and he is effective. He uses his size and strength to manipulate and turn defenders, to tie them up and keep them from getting on tackles, which is good, and he plays through the ball. Some people think he's dangerous when he fires to the second level. I haven't seen enough clips of this. I gotta see a little more, but I guess from what I do know, he's gotten nasty with some linebackers and defensive backs, and I don't know. He plays with a force to be reckoned with. But like I said, I got to see more of him in the second level. I know that he's a good mover in space, but that doesn't mean when you get to the second level, you're dealing with people at different speeds, and I got to see what that compares to. But he's a heck of a player. obviously, it would help him in a very obvious way to continue to get stronger before the NFL. But I think that he could function pretty well in either a power man or a zone blocking scheme. In 2020, he had a pretty dominant sophomore season as the blindside protector for Justin Herbert. He possessed good size then, good athleticism, and had a good skill set to make him obviously one of the top prospects in this draft. And he had an excellent 2019 season. He won the Outland Trophy and was the Pac-12 Co-Offensive Player of the Year. He was a shutdown pass protector as a freshman as well. And notably, he didn't allow a single sack in over 926 snaps. He was only credited with allowing 7 pressures and 2 hits that entire season as a freshman. I wish we could have seen him this past season. Obviously, the Pac-12 seems to do whatever the Big Ten tells it to do, so they canceled their 2020 season, which that doesn't help Sewell in terms of development for the NFL. Larry Scott from the Pac-12 is incompetent as a commissioner, and I don't know. He was protecting his own job security over considering the science that student athletes are. I don't know. I'm not going to get into it, but I don't know. A heck of a player. A top 10 athlete in this draft for sure. Top 5 probably for sure. And like I said, some say he's the best football player in the draft altogether. So that is Penei Sewell. Moving to the next one, we've got an offensive tackle who's also played guard from USC. It's Alijah Vera-Tucker. He's 6'4", weighs 315. He's a little smaller than Penei Sewell. His projected 40 time is also 5 flat. And he's obviously projected to be a first rounder. So Vera-Tucker took over Austin Jackson's role and at left tackle at USC, and he played well. Unfortunately, had limited action, though. Vera-Tucker was going to sit out the 2020 season, and he actually chose to opt back in, and he rejoined the Trojans, and that helped him display the versatility to kind of compete at guard or tackle in the NFL. Vera-Tucker was a good left guard for the Trojans in 2019 and has upside to develop for the next level, though. For the NFL, there's a lot to like about him in pass protection. He moves smoothly. He's got good athleticism. He's quick and agile. He can glide with speed rushers relatively easily. And he shows the ability to play the typewriter, kind of similar like Penei Sewell does with his feet. And I don't know, that movement, you guys, if you see it in these plays, you'll notice that movement is fantastic. He's a natural knee bender who maintains good leverage while avoiding bending at the waist. He's good. He's not going to topple over. He's got a very similar play style to Penei Sewell, in my opinion. He's not a bull at the point of attack in the running game, but he's effective. He's more of a wall-off and position blocker who beats defenders to a spot to cover them up and keep them from making a tackle, which is all that matters. He does a really good job of scrapping, and he keeps his hands fighting constantly to sustain his blocks. His handwork is exceptional. Again, it would help to add a lot of strength. Going to the NFL, it's going to be difficult if he doesn't. But for a pro rushing offense, he might fit best in his zone blocking scheme. So I think he looks like a starting left tackle or guard in the NFL and is worth a first or second round pick, probably a first. And I think that this is a good player. I think that he's got to improve a little bit physically and just got to get stronger. They all do, obviously. Just continue to get stronger, and you have to at this position, even when you're in the league, and just keep on grinding to get stronger and stronger because it's just a difficult. It's a very physical position, obviously. So, with that being said, I'm going to move to the next one, which is Rashawn Slater. He's the offensive tackle / guard / center. Plays it all out of Northwestern. A heck of an athlete. He's versatile. We'll talk about it, but he's 6'3", 306 pounds, and I think it's projected he's going to run his 40 in 5.08 seconds. So expect this guy to move in the first or the second round. I think he'll be a higher first round pick if he does go in the first round. Some team sources keep him in the second round. His discrepancy is mostly due to some projecting. It's due to his whole positioning. So does he remain a tackle? Does he feel like he's too small? Or do people feel like he's too small for tackle? Is he undersized? Does he lack length? So will he have to move to guard or center? The guy's obviously an athlete. He's quick, he's agile. Given his lack of height and length, though, his reach, I should say, he might be a better fit inside a guard or center. I don't know, though. His foot quickness, his athleticism, and his agility are all that of a tackle, which is fantastic. Teams like how tough he is. They like how intelligent he is. This is a smart guy. Went to a good school, educated person, and some sources think he's his. I don't know. Some sources say his best position in the NFL could be center, and that's not where I would have him. I would have him at a guard. I think based on his speed, a guard would be, like, in terms of footwork, a guard would be a better fit for him. But people compare him to Maurkice Pouncey a lot, and they think that he could be a Maurkice Pouncey caliber snapper. Moving on to Christiandarasol. This is the tackle out of Virginia Tech. Dude's 6'5", 314 pounds, and he's projected to run his 40 in 5.22 seconds. Another player that's a first or second round pick potentially. And he played well as a junior. He created a lot of buzz. He's a good size for the NFL, and he's going to enter the league as a 2-year starter as a left tackle. Played well, like I said, and some sources have a love-hate response for him. Some see him as worthy of going early in the first round and think he's legit, and other sources, including specifically to note a director of college scouting, say that he's a second-round pick at best. And this is a very hot and cold player. They don't like his lack of physicality and the mean streak. He's a good athlete. He's quick. He's got agility on the edge. If he pans out in the NFL, people say he could be a Russell Okung type tackle. I don't know enough about either player to make that comparison. I don't know, but looking at him, he looks like he's athletic. He looks physical to me. If some people say he's got a lack of physicality, I don't know. He looks fine to me, but this is the left tackle out of Virginia Tech. He looks like a good player. Moving right along to, in my opinion, one of the better linemen in the draft, Alex Leatherwood. Alex Leatherwood is the tackle out of Alabama. He's 6'6", a tall dude. He's 322 pounds, and he's going to run his 40 in a projected 5.34 time. We'll obviously see what that looks like at a pro day or a combine. I think that this year is focused significantly more on the pro days. Obviously, I don't know anything. Is there even a combine? Who knows anymore? I can't keep up with this shit. He played well for Alabama in 2020. Their team sources said that he looked improved. He still has some issues that he needs to clean up for the NFL. He needs some work in the run game, a continuing pattern here among these players. As you see college going more and more and more to this hybrid toss, pass, movement game, and you see that kind of bleeding into the NFL a little bit. You're seeing less and less physical run blockers. But he needs some work in the run game because he's a position and wall-off kind of guy rather than a people mover, which is good on the edge, but I think I've talked about this in the running back video. I mean, what happens is when you kick out like that, you leave this massive gap right off the bat. And whether that's your running hole or not, a linebacker is going to fill that gap immediately. Even if they're doing a QB spy, they're going to come up a yard or two and sit there if it's a passing play. If they see a gap big enough, they're just going to blitz. So it's just different in the NFL. You can't get away with that as much. But I will say this guy, he did really well in pass protection. He's had problems when it's time to get a little physical, but he did well in pass protection as a senior. And the NFL is now a passing-driven league. Hence, he's built a little bit of a love-hate relationship. Some grade him in the first round, others have him lower on day 2. I don't know what that looks like. Again, this is hot and cold, but I think that he is definitely a first or second round pick. Leatherwood he's got good feet. He's athletic. Excellent size. He's a big dude. Like I said, a little slower, but maybe that doesn't matter. His reach is fantastic. He's got decent hands. So evaluators think he's good to cover up speed rushers because it's difficult to get around him. Just plain and simple. So they think given his excellent skill set at a premium position, he'll be a first round pick. And some say he could possibly be one of the first 20 selections. One of the directors of college scouting said this about Leatherwood. He said, Leatherwood is a late first rounder at minimum. He's finally started playing like a man and is playing with some urgency and aggression, which he didn't last year. He's a better athlete and better player than Jonah Williams, who went too high at number 11 in 2020 to Cincinnati. And Leatherwood can start at either tackle spot as well as guard if you needed him to. There's a lot more that was said about him, but that's as versatile as it gets for a 6'6", 322-pound dude. And I don't know, hearing he's got improved physicality from a director of college scouting. I mean, that's a good sign. So I expect him to be gone, at minimum later first round. But like I said, some people project first to second. Some say later second. So we'll have to see. I wouldn't mind taking him. He's a good player. I would like to have him on our team. But anyways, moving right along, we've got Jalen Mayfield. And Jalen Mayfield is a tackle out of Michigan. He's 6'5", 319 pounds. Another bigger dude. A little faster. He's going to potentially run his 40-yard dash in 5.1 seconds. And he's a first or second round pick again. He's had a solid 2020. He wasn't dominant. He missed some time with injuries, but I don't know. I still think he's going to go a little earlier. He showed a lack of judgment or doing due diligence in signing with CAA, which is the agency that aided Harvey Weinstein. So I don't know. He has quality strength, athleticism, and he's quick. He'd be a good starting right tackle in the NFL. That thing I was saying about the judgment, organizations are now looking at how they're reflected quite a bit more. And so you have to take that stuff into consideration. I don't know. I don't have much more to say about it, but I think Jalen Mayfield's a good player. I think that we'll just have to judge him based on his actual performance. And, it's hard with these college guys. 21 years old, you can easily be led in the wrong direction. And so I take that with a grain of salt. But I'm going to move forward here to... Who am I going to get? I'm going to move forward to Sam Cosmi. This is the tackle out of Texas. Another tall guy, 6'6", weighs 295 pounds, and I like his size. He's projected to run a 40 in 5.1 seconds. He's a little more lean, and again, this could be a first or second round pick. So team sources who saw Cosmi to open the 2020 season said it looked like he added some good weight and seemed better physically. There's not much more to say about the guy. He's athletic. He's pretty quick. Doesn't bounce around all over the place like some of the other guys do. Doesn't kick off right away to the side. He blocked well for Texas, and he could obviously he could stand to continue to get even stronger for the next level, just like the other guys. But I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic on this player. Just overall can play football. It's not overcomplicated with him. There's not some crazy drama. There's not some crazy XYZ factor. The guy can just play football, which is what matters. So that's why I do think he'll be a second round pick. I think he'll be an early second round pick, but the experts say first to second. Jackson Carman, the tackle out of Clemson, 6'5", 345 pounds, and they project he's going to run his 40 in 5.2 seconds. Again, another first or second rounder. He was a solid left tackle for Clemson in 2020. He put together a good performance against Notre Dame. So while he played tackle for Clemson, some scouts felt like his best fit might be as a guard in the NFL, actually. I think he may be too big for that. Others say that he can start at left tackle right away in the NFL. So we're seeing another recurring pattern here, which is just very different takes, obviously different strokes for different folks. And I don't know, I think he would play fine at tackle. I think he could start right away. So people see him as an easy mover for a large, thick offensive lineman, which is good. He grazes on the grass, is what Sweeney said. So I don't know. They feel like he has left tackle ability, but some technical issues to fix. Like, okay. With his excellent combination of size and athleticism, Carman has a real shot to go late in the first round, I think, of the 2020 draft, and he could go to a playoff team that's looking for a prospect with a true first-round skill set. He's going to shoot up the boards, I think, this spring before the draft due to his size. And we'll see. But I think I won't be surprised if he goes first on day one. Some people say he won't even be a second-day pick, and some people say he'll be a third-round pick. He's got some character issues that could influence that discrepancy. But I mean, so he's definitely a first-round talent, but the character isn't the best. So like I said, let's judge him based on the field work, and just hope that the organization that he joins can turn the personality issues around. We all hate seeing those personality issues, and it can ruin a player. So, but like I've said previously for the past two before that, you're seeing another recurring pattern. They keep coming up. You're seeing all these same players have fantastic performance, but some of the differences between the very best and the third, fourth, and fifth, whatever best coming up in these drafts could be off the field character issues, which is a big variable. Liam Eichenberg, I hope I didn't butcher his name. I've only seen clips, haven't really listened to announcers talk about him or anything, but tackle out of Notre Dame, 6'6", 305 pounds, projected 40 time is 5.25 seconds. And again, another potential first rounder, potential second rounder, and some say third. I think he'll be right in the middle. He played well for Notre Dame in 2020. Some people say that he could be a late second or early third round pick. Whoever picks him, he's a good lineman. He's fine. He's 6'5", 305 pounds. Like I said, he's solid. That's a good football player. But he might be lacking the skill set for a first round pick or maybe a top 20 player. He's not viewed as the same caliber of athlete as the 5 2020 offensive tackles who went in the top 20 in the first round. Those are Andrew Thomas, Jedrick Willis, Mickey Becton, Tristan Wirfs, and Austin Jackson. But every year, some teams take second-day graded players late in the first round, and he could be a candidate for that. He does look like a safe pick. He'll be a solid pro, and I think he'll do pretty well in the NFL. Again, not as quick as some of the last guys, doesn't kick out the same way as some of the last guys, but a good overall player. I think he would perform well in the NFL and probably be a starter pretty quickly. Tevin Jenkins, the tackle out of Oklahoma State, another big guy, 6'6", 320. A little slower, so projected to run his 40 in 5.32 seconds, and a first to third round pick. I think that's the same as the previous gentleman. He received some media acclaim as an early round pick, and I don't know if I agree with it. He definitely has a skill set to play in the NFL. He's a big edge protector who's going to enter the NFL with a lot of experience. He broke in the starting lineup as a sophomore and was a steady contributor to the success that Chuba Hubbard found on the ground. Some have projected Jenkins as a first round or second round pick. And speaking with different sources and stuff, some people think that he's could be third. I don't know. I think he'll probably go second round. So moving on, James Hudson out of. I want to say one thing about Oklahoma State is I don't feel comfortable about them at all. It's such a gamble when they get to the NFL because you see them play at completely different caliber than some of the SEC teams, and I've even seen MAC players turn out way better, and it's such a gamble with them. It always is. I don't know why, but sometimes they don't pan out, and sometimes they're fantastic. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. It's the weirdest thing. Maybe more with Oklahoma than Oklahoma State, but I don't know. Just my observation. Probably doesn't matter. Very unprofessional thing for me to say. But moving on, James Hudson, the tackle out of Cincinnati. 6'4", 305 pounds, and he did pretty well this past year. Projected 40-yard time is 5.32. So I think he's going to be a second or third round pick. He's a good value pick on the second day of 2021 of the draft. I think that he's got a good size. He's quick. He's athletic. Same as the other guys. Doesn't matter as much. at this point? No, because once you get into the third round, you're starting to think, okay, maybe they don't start right away. Maybe they transition in. Maybe they're filling for injuries, whatever. But he started out his collegiate career at Michigan, and then he transferred to Cincinnati. With the Bearcats, he became a pretty good edge protector, and he was a solid contributor to the ground game. He does have a lot of upside, but I think that this one may require a little bit of a patient approach from the NFL staff. He did only start one full season of college football, so it's difficult to judge with this one. I think that he'll be a second-round pick, a late second-round pick, potentially third. Again, a good player, though. All of these guys are going to be good players. All these guys are probably going to succeed in the NFL, without a doubt. Moving forward, we've got Walker Little. He's a tackle out of Stanford. This is a really tall guy. He's 6'7", 304 pounds, a little slower. Projected 40 time is 5.4 seconds. And I don't know exactly when he's going to go. He sat out the 2020 season, which was a questionable decision. As he's basically going to enter the NFL draft having missed 2 straight seasons of football. And people are really high on this guy, probably solely based on his size, but I think he's slowed down development significantly to the point that I don't know if I would take him. He's a smarter guy. Stanford's a good college. But with injury and sitting out last year, I don't know. It's a gamble. He's slower, and I think that he's missed out on development opportunities way too significantly. But like I said, people think he'll go either third, fourth, or fifth round. A lot of people are optimistic on this guy. I think he's going to be a third rounder. I don't see it, but you never know. The NFL is just a weird business. Finishing off, I'm going to close out with Stone Forsythe. I love this guy's name. Pick him for his name. I don't know. Fantastic. He's a tackle out of Florida. Guy's 6'7", 329 pounds, and he's projected to run his 40 in 5.33 seconds. This is another third, fourth, or fifth round pick. Don't expect him to shoot up. I don't think in this spring. I don't expect him to shoot up to the first or second. I think that that's a solid third round pick potentially. He blocked well for the Gators in 2020. His game against Texas A&M, if you've seen it, was not as good as his performances against Ole Miss and South Carolina. But he played well against Georgia, which counts. I mean, the Bulldogs are good. And their edge rusher, Aziz Ojulari, is a good player. So, I don't know. That's one of the top pass rushers in the SEC. So, a good performance there is extremely important. But I do think he could be a better fit as either a right tackle or guard in the NFL. We'll have to see how that pans out, but I expect him to be a third, fourth, or fifth round pick, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's third round. I also wouldn't be surprised if he's fifth, maybe earlier fifth. I would be surprised if he's later fifth, but I expect him to be a day 3 guy. Good player overall, though. And that's all I've got for the linemen that I wanted to talk about for the NFL draft. Most of these guys are fantastic. Actually, every single one of them is a fantastic athlete, and you have to be to enter the NFL in general. So I think that these guys all have, for the most part, pretty good careers in the NFL. A couple probably won't pan out, but in general, I expect to be talking about their names for a long time to come. I respect the heck out of all these guys, and every single one of them has a decent size, a decent weight, and a good speed, and expect them to perform. As for who I think we should take, I have no idea. I think by the time it gets to us, pick 24, it could either be Alex Leatherwood. I don't know, because I don't know if he's going to be around in the second. We're just going to have to see when we cross that bridge, because some part of me says just take the best player we can, So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But that's my review of the tackles and kind of hybrid linemen moving from tackle to guard / center, however they're moving them around. That's my review of some of these offensive linemen entering the 2021 NFL draft. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Spotify. We're on pretty much every podcast streaming network. I don't do these reviews on those networks, but these will just be on YouTube. But if you have any specific player you want us to talk about, I've started talking about the pro days and some of the specific players and doing player reviews on a more specific note than these. If you have any player you want us to check out, feel free to email us. Our email is in the description. It's also steelstudiopodcast@gmail.com. And if you haven't already, check out Rick's Thursday Thoughts. They're fantastic. With that being said, I'm going to let you guys go. Have a great day.